Good afternoon. We'll call to order the July meeting of the City of Florence Design Review Board. Because of the coronavirus situation, we are holding this meeting remotely. I'm present in council chambers. Other board members are present via Zoom. Jay Ham, Scott Collins, Julia Bike, and David Tedder, and Jamie Karsten. Everyone is muted right now. We will unmute people when the time comes for votes or discussion. The first matter before us today is approval of the minutes from the meeting held on June 10th. Board members, the minutes were provided in your packets. Do we have a way to unmute just the board members? We're working on unmuting, but in the meantime, do any board members have any additions or deletions to the minutes?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Ms. Bike.
I would like to reflect in the minutes that I mentioned during the discussion about the door on 190 West Evans Street, which I did vote against, but I made the comment that I thought it would have been much more appropriate had the door looked more like the original door in the historic building. And there was a perfect opportunity had it come before the board before it did. Do I make sense?
Yes.
The reason I voted against it.
Okay, I'm taking note of that, and we'll ask that those be updated.
Thank you.
Any other additions or deletions to the minutes? All in favor of adopting the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. The minutes are adopted with that amendment to be made. The next matter before us today is DRB case number 2020-20. This is a request for certificate of appropriateness for an LED monument sign to be located at 251 West Palmetto Street, tax map number 90087-01-004. The property is located in the D1 Redevelopment Overlay District, and the board will take staff's report.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. This is deferred from last month, so I'm very quickly going to go through the PowerPoint to just refresh everyone's memory. I'm sorry, we're working through this real fast. All right, can everybody see? Excellent, excellent. So again, this is a request for an LED monument sign, 251 West Palmetto Street. The applicant is Circle Park. Here we are, we're in the redevelopment overlay district. And also this is in the central business district. This was the proposed location of the sign, 2 feet behind the sidewalk. Here is the latest rendering of the sign. This is the same sign that we saw at last month's meeting, and the applicant felt that this was the best representation of what they wanted as far as signage. And here's some more pictures. Here's the front of the building on the far left-hand slide, and then the red circle is just kind of where an old sign is that will be removed. And that just kind of gives location, and you can see the flower beds where the sign will be placed. And then again, we talked about the Unified Development Ordinance. It was kind of right under the wire at 79 total square footage, where in the CBD 80 is the max. And then as far as the design guidelines, it seemed pretty appropriate for a monument sign in this particular zoning designation. And then again, LED signs have to follow state code, and they do require, anything backlit does require design review board approval. And we went over other redevelopment overlay signs, and we talked about how the LED portion of the sign was a small percentage of the sign overall as compared to the one proposed by Circle Park. So the issues that we did discuss in the last meeting from June 10th, some recommendations that the board made. The overall size of the sign was a little large. The LED could possibly be a smaller percentage of the overall sign. There were driver visibility concerns when you leave the driveway out of 251 West Palmetto Street. And then again, the precedence for reader signs as opposed to just a large LED sign, which was the main feature. So the applicant is currently working on a new sign rendering based on these recommendations. At this time, staff doesn't have any new sign renderings, but I know, like I said, the applicants are working hard on getting a new signage. We went out and took some pictures of the driveway at 251 West Palmetto Street. We just wanted to kind of assure everyone that there weren't any driver visibility problems. This is me in a small pickup truck looking to the left, east onto West Palmetto Street, and right west onto West Palmetto Street. So as you can see, that flower bed where the sign's going to be located, the sign will be located back a couple of feet, and you can pretty well see when you're trying to get out to see traffic. And that does conclude staff report.
Thank you. All right, so I might have misheard you just now. The rendering on page 11 is not the new rendering, or that is the new rendering?
We had two renderings in the last staff report, and the applicant felt that this was the closest to what they were looking for as far as the signage. They felt that the other signage, because of the dimensional problems with the guy standing next to it, it wasn't quite representative of what they were looking at. So they are coming up with a new sign rendering, but this is the best that they have at this point.
So this entire structure is 4 feet 6 inches tall and a little less than 8 feet across. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Not the screen, but the entire.
Oh, let's see. Let me go back to the signage sign. Yeah, that's just the LED screen itself is the 4 foot and the 7 foot, but the entire sign itself is 7 foot 5 inches in height, and then the length is 9 foot 10 inches. So you're right, that picture shows just the LED signage, yes, sir. And I'm sure the applicant could weigh in on any changes to the sign.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure we understand what the proposal is.
Yes, sir.
So really, the entire sign is still 79 square feet, so it's no smaller than what was proposed before.
Right, this is the latest sign rendering we have, but I think the applicant's trying to get in, but I think that they are still working on a new sign.
We have a new rendering.
So this is the latest and greatest that we have.
Okay. All right, any board members have questions for staff before we open to the public?
I guess. Sorry.
Sorry.
All right, if no one has any questions for staff, we'll open it for public hearing. If anyone from the public or the applicant would like to speak, I saw the applicant raise her hand.
Yes, thank you. This is Teresa Cox from Circle Park Behavioral Health Services. So that rendering, we were not, because of the vendor we're working with, we were not able to get the new rendering to staff in time for his deadline to create a staff report. So I want to make it clear that that's not what we're proposing. I'm going to share a screen with you guys. If I can, or actually, Bill, can you share screen and pull up? So the new rendering that we have, the total square footage would be 51 square feet, which is significantly smaller than the 79 square feet that you were looking at. So if you look at the screen right now, this is what we're proposing. This is 6 feet high. This is 8.5 feet wide. So that's a total of 51 square feet. And that is in comparison to the original 79 square feet. And it's 3 feet high for the LED portion of the sign and 6 feet wide for the LED portion of the sign.
Which is smaller.
And also, upon consideration of what was addressed in the June 10th meeting, we also will be setting the sign further back from the sidewalk line.
Okay, thank you. Does the board have any other questions for the applicant?
I've got a question. This is Scott. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Scott.
My question is, why is the business or the agency not listed on the sign? To me, when you have a message board that has information on it, if you don't identify the source of the information, then the public doesn't know if that's a city sign or a county sign or a government sign or an agency sign. To me, it's a little, it's a lack of information opportunity.
Thank you so much, Mr. Collins, for that question. The agency will be listed on the back of the sign. What you're seeing is the one-sided view, which shows the LED portion of it. The Circle Park emblem will be embedded on the back of the sign. And the reason that we are advocating very intensely for this sign is for the public health messages. During the pandemic, overdoses have, especially with opioid overdoses, have doubled in Florence County. So we want to make sure that this sign is going to be utilized for securing public health for public health messaging for the citizens of this county. But Circle Park will be identified as the distributor of the information dissemination provided by the sign to help make sure that people are able to know how to dispose of drugs and stay drug-free.
Thank you.
So the LED portion will only be on the east-facing side, is that correct?
So if you're traveling on Palmetto Street and you're traveling from the east going towards the western part of town, yes.
Okay. All right, any other questions for the applicant? All right, hearing none, are there any other members of the public that would like to speak to this matter? We have some way to check. Aren't there some people just on the phone?
We had a couple just chime in, so you may want to re-ask that question.
Well, how are they to notify us if they're muted?
They would have to.
You are unmuted.
Okay, we just had several people join the public hearing. If any member of the public would like to speak to this application, please say so. We're unmuting everyone now. Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. We'll open it for board discussion.
You are muted.
Technology's great till it's not. All right, board members, does anyone have any comments on this application? to me, it seems they certainly took care of a lot of our concerns. It's significantly smaller and part of a structure instead of a freestanding LED sign. Anyone have any other comments? All right, hearing none, we will vote. All in favor of issuing the certificate signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Staff just corrected me. Thank you very much. Is there a motion related to this application?
I so move, make a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, there's a motion by Mr. Karsten and a second to issue the certificate based upon the application as presented, including the rendering presented by the applicant during today's hearing. Any further discussion of that? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll issue the certificate. Thank you very much. Next matter before the board today is DRB case number 2020-23. This is a request for a certificate of appropriateness to demolish the building located at 125 West Darlington Street, tax map number 90086-04-013. This property is located in the D2 Downtown Central Overlay District. The board will take staff's report.
Good afternoon. I will go ahead and share the screen now. All right. This request is for the removal of the metal warehouse building located at 125 West Darlington Street. It is right behind the Streeter building that we looked at a couple months ago. And this parcel has been purchased by Hope Health, which you can see on the left there on this location map. And the building is currently a recycling business, and that recycling business is relocating out in the county. And they want to basically take the building with them. So Hope Health has purchased the property, and the owners of the building are going to take that metal building down, as you can see it here, and relocate it to their new location. So they're taking that and will leave the vacant lot. And as part of the agreement, because Hope Health isn't quite sure what they're doing with the parcel yet, Hope Health has told them they can leave the foundation, the concrete foundation. But they will want to remove the entire building itself. So that is the nature of the request. Because of the way this month works out, the Historical Commission meets on the second Monday of the month, so they are not meeting on this until next week. So if you'd like, you can make your recommendation contingent upon their approval. But that's entirely up to the board. But that concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Does 1972 qualify for the Historic Commission?
I wouldn't think so. And ugly metal building, I don't think qualifies it.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah, technically, any structure that's coming down has to go before the board for their approval.
Okay,
But obviously, some have more historical value than others, that's more obvious.
okay,
And this one just happens to be in an overlay district.
okay.
That's part of the reason we didn't feel as concerned about bringing it to the board prior to them taking a look.
Right.
Yeah, we typically wouldn't do this after past meetings and the board's concerned.
Is the city not concerned with leaving all the concrete out there and not having it turned into green space or something?
I asked the applicant about that, and he said that nobody was paying for it to remove it. So I guess you could request that that be part of your approval.
I mean, I guess my concern is, what if they don't develop that for 5 or 10 years?
Right.
And it's just sitting there. Any other board questions for staff? All right.
One quick question. Could I get a clarification on what is going to be the state of the property once it's removed? Maybe I missed that.
I think I put the site plan in your packet. They would basically just take it down to the foundation, leave the grassy area, but leave the concrete foundation, the concrete slab.
Including the slab under the building?
Right, yes,
And all the parking apron and all that stuff out front.
yes.
Okay, now I understand
Like
that.
they did it with the pecan factory out on 52 there by Seminar Building.
You know, one of the problems with leaving a building slab is when you have a paving or concrete parking slab, then it's sloped to drain. But when you have a building slab, a lot of times it has, whether it's either perfectly flat or it even sometimes has pockets and can, you know, I think it could be kind of a problematic site condition. Not terrible, but you're taking what used to be an interior slab and turning it into an exterior slab. It's not really made to be a a driveway or parking area.
The other concerns I guess I have are this downward sloping loading dock. What happens down there? Is water just going to pool up in that and become a mosquito trap? And then are people going to try to park all over this thing? And what problems does that create potentially, you know? All right, any other questions for staff from the board? All right, hearing none, we will open it for public hearing. If any member of the public would like to speak, please let us know. We'll unmute the people who are on the telephone.
We're unmuted.
If anyone would like to speak, please speak out now. Okay, then we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Before I forget, I meant to note during the last case, board member Mitchell is also with us today, so please add him to the roll. All right, we'll open it for board discussion. What do y'all think?
My concern,
Go ahead, Ms. Bike.
was just, my concern is leaving the cement there. I think if we knew that they were going to do something with it in a short time, it would be different. But we don't know what they're going to use it for. They don't know yet. Is that correct?
That's
Is that my
correct.
understanding?
They're not sure if they're going to expand the Streeter Building project into this area or expand their parking lot or their existing building.
I'm happy to see that building go, but I am concerned about what's left.
I agree with Ms. Bike. I think that if Hope Health's history of is any indication, it's going to be a real asset to that area. I mean, they've saved that part of town, in my opinion. So I know they're going to do well. I think it's just a matter of what happens in the interim.
Is it possible for us to approve with them removing the slab within some period of time, say a year or 2 years, and that way they can move forward with their project and we can approve it. But then if they let it sit dormant,
Bring them back to the board.
right. I mean, is that enforceable? I mean, is that something we would have any kind of enforcement powers?
I think as long as it's set forth in a motion, we could hold them to that,
Okay.
absolutely. And if they had objection with it, they could always come back to the board
Right.
and present their case firsthand.
What do y'all think about that, board members?
I would love to see us put a time limit on it if possible. I don't know that that's doable, but we have that lot close by that the grocery store is supposed to go up on, and it's still vacant and an eyesore when you go down that Darlington Street.
I like the ideas as well, but I don't think you need to go any further than 24 months.
Do y'all think that's acceptable and reasonable?
I think that, one more thing, I think that your, Chairman, your concern about the loading dock is, and I'm not a lawyer, but that's not kind of an attractive nuisance, isn't it? And if it's not going to be enclosed?
Yeah, I don't know what it's like down. I mean, there might be great drainage. I have no idea what it's like, but if no one's keeping up with anything, even if there is drainage down there.
And if it's not, if it's kind of abandoned property, or it's not, you could have kids riding their bikes across there.
Mhm.
Theoretically, I mean, it seems like it might be, in addition to being sort of a unattractive nuisance, it could also be kind of a liability for the public.
I agree with you, Mr. Collins.
Well, do we want to put a shorter time frame on them?
Even if we put a shorter time frame on it, what does that keep from somebody getting hurt in 2 months?
Right. Well, I don't know that that's really our responsibility as much as it's theirs. I mean, they
True.
still own the property. It's different than like these buildings that are collapsing that might fall out on the street or the sidewalk and hurt somebody. And this would just be if somebody entered their property and was trespassing.
True.
Mr. Chairman. Sorry. Is there a way to just approve the removal of the building? I'm sorry for the feedback. And then approve what's the remaining structure, since we can't really envision what it's going to look like.
Mr. Ham, I'm sorry, we could not hear any of your motion except for about 2 words.
He sounds like FDR.
Sorry about that. All right, is that better?
There's an echo.
Yeah, it looks like your connection's real jumpy for the moment. Hold on just a second. We're going to check and make sure we got everything.
Somebody's on their phone.
Everybody's kind of jumpy right now, though. Why don't we try muting everybody except Mr. Ham for a second and see if that works.
Is that better?
Still got a little feedback, but we can hear you.
Can we look at evaluating the space after the building is removed?
Can we look at evaluating the space after the building is removed? Is that the question? I don't know that we would have authority after that. This is kind of our shot at it until they try to build something else or demolish something else. It would become just a regular codes enforcement issue if something happened, right?
You're absolutely right, and I don't know that the slab, unless it became a mosquito pit, may qualify as a nuisance, or if trash or weeds were to pile up there, it would become a nuisance. But we would have difficulty enforcing that unless it was built into a motion that the board made.
What seems to me, even if just the building's gone, it's better than it is right now. So if we can approve that and put some kind of contingency on it, that Hope Health clear it within some period of time, then that's certainly better than where we are today. Mr. Carson suggested 24 months. Are there any other time limits that anyone would suggest?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
do you have anybody from Hope Health at the meeting online?
They have not spoken up. We don't believe they're here.
My concern would be that loading dock that where water would sell in that hole.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well,
Hello,
hello.
this is David at 125 West Arlington Street.
Yes, sir.
Well, you weren't sure we were on, so I thought I'd let you know we were.
Okay.
If the loading dock area, I wouldn't mind if Hope Health won't do it. I will haul in sand clay mix and fill in the loading dock. That way there won't be a mosquito problem.
Okay. Then maybe a motion along the lines of approving contingent upon the loading dock being filled and then Hope Health removing all of the foundations and concrete within 2 years.
Sound reason.
Ms. Bite?
I'm worried about the time limit. Can we actually do that?
Staff advised that we can, if it's part of one of our motions, that then the city has enforcement powers to enforce the certificate that we issue.
Two years seems like a long time.
What would you propose?
Maybe a year.
Anyone else
It's
have
up for
any?
discussion.
Yeah, no, anybody else have any comments on time? right. Hearing none, is there a motion that we approve the certificate contingent upon the loading dock being filled as soon as demolition occurs, and that the remainder of the foundation and concrete be removed within a year? Does anybody make that motion?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Mr. Mitchell, is there a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Tedder. All right, any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll issue the certificate with those stipulations. The next matter before us today is DRB case number 2020-24. It's a request for a certificate of appropriateness for exterior renovations to the building located at 236 West Evans Street, tax map number 90168-01-014. This property is located in the H1 Historic Overlay District. We'll take staff's report.
Yes. The applicant is seeking a certificate of appropriateness to rebuild the front facade on this storefront and install signage, and then to add outdoor seating with fencing to the rear of the building. And this is located at 236 West Evans Street. It is directly west of the Top Hat Tees building and right next to the Russell Eye Care store. This is the front facade with the current conditions. As you can see, the building, the white building on the left, is the building we're discussing today. And it has a white stucco front with double door, commercial doors and 2 windows. And the applicant is proposing to replace the entire lower facade with a wall of bronze framework storefront and a single door on the far left. And the splines of the windows are 2 inches wide, and I went around downtown with a tape measure, and that is standard for all the commercial storefronts. So that would be the ground floor level. The upper level, then, the applicant is proposing doing the signage like he did at his location on South Irby Street, which is this black alum paneling. And as you can see in the middle picture, it is screwed onto framework that is then screwed onto the surface. And he has made the 2 suggestions that are on the right and left of that, depending on, he hasn't quite decided, but it would be something very similar to one of those, which is also very similar to what was approved for the building on South Irby Street. The entire building then, the upper level would also then be this black paneling. And so it would be like the black stucco on the Russell Eye Care building next door. But it would be the smooth surface of the paneling. Then in the rear, right now, it is just a narrow parking area, and because there's nowhere to put outdoor seating in the front of the building, the applicant wishes to enclose a portion of this rear yard or rear lot with wooden privacy fencing and put out tables and chairs and umbrellas and lighting. And it would be laid out something similar to this, kind of like other places downtown. And then he had suggested for privacy fence options, either the vertical fencing like you'd see on the left, or staff has suggested, and he is open to something a little more edgy, a little more commercial looking, like the one on the right. And so that hasn't been determined exactly yet, but he is open to that option. There is a little bit of an issue of leaving access to the rear of Top Hat Tees. So the fence may need to go down about a foot or 2 into the parking lot instead of right on the grass line there. But that has yet to be determined exactly. But the overall request is for putting up this privacy fence in the rear to allow for the sitting area, and then the front of the building with the signage and the black panels covering the front of the building. And that concludes staff's report.
Okay, will you go back to the back, the part about the back? No, I'm sorry, these right here. Okay, so I'm looking at the aerial tax map. And to me, it looks like the short building, I'm sorry, go back to the,
Photographs on
yeah,
the map.
the photographs. Okay, so the short building, which there has the little orange flat overhang on the door in the back, you see?
Yes, that's the back of this building that we're concerned about.
Okay, well, the reason I ask is because if you then compare that to the aerial view, maybe I'm reading it wrong, but it looks like our building, well,
The actual, that long skinny lot, the actual building only goes to about the number 3 on the tax map number next to it.
okay, all right, but the tax map next to it, Top Hat Tees, the building fills the whole square, is that correct?
The number 234 square there, yes.
Okay,
And
all
then the
right.
remainder of that, all that grassy area belongs to FMU.
Okay, all right, got it,
Wants to square it off essentially with neighboring.
got it, okay, got it. All right, any questions for staff?
And the applicant is available.
Okay. Hearing no questions, we'll open the matter for public hearing. If any member of the public would like to speak, please let us know. I understand the applicant is with us. So hello, if you would like to speak, feel free to go ahead first, and anyone else can speak thereafter. Mr. Brown, is there anything you'd like to share with the board?
I think you have everything. Everything sounds beautiful to me. We're just trying to, with the initiative of the city, the reason why we're really trying to expand the back is for social distancing. Even we're using rainwater reservoirs for the planters. It gives the green space. You know, we've got a lot of green, so it just gives a beautification of the city. That's pretty much. I think y'all got everything. I'm here to answer any questions that are needed.
Okay. Does anyone on the board have any questions for the applicant? All right, hearing none, thank you. Are there
I
any
do
other?
have one question.
Yes.
I have one question. Upon approval, I just want to make sure there isn't any policy issue or any addendum as far as detaching my old sign and reattaching it to the new building. I just want to just make sure that I have clearance to do that. And you can let me know whatever needs to be done.
Staff, as long as it can be removed from the old building without causing damage to the facade, right?
That's correct.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Is there did I miss something? Is there a back entrance to this building?
Yes, ma'am. As you're looking at the picture on the left there, straight ahead, the little awning, the little orange awning, that's the back door to what will be Soleil.
But when you enclose it,
There will be a gate included in the back fence.
what about the parking? Will that just be street parking?
Yes, ma'am. There is some rear parking, and parking is not required for the central business district.
Right.
I need to walk. I've been gaining a lot of weight, so actually I need to walk.
So basically, this property goes all the way back to like Central Church's parking lot. Is that correct?
That's correct. And there would be about 5 spaces still left in the parking spaces still left, even after.
How do you get to those spaces?
You go through either the Francis Marion or through the church. They're a little awkward because they're angled parking, but you have to back all the way out. So I don't think they're used very often.
They are very awkward.
Okay, would anyone else from the public like to speak during the public hearing? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and open this matter for board discussion. If any board members have any comments? If not, would anyone like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve as submitted.
And
Second.
does your motion include removing the sign from the other building and bringing it to this building and reattaching it?
If that's part of his proposal, yes.
Okay. All right. And was that Mr. Mitchell who seconded?
Yes.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll issue the certificate. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, that's all we have. Our next meeting is scheduled for August 12th. Does anyone have any other business that the board needs to take care of? All right, thank you very much. We'll adjourn. Everybody have a good afternoon.
Thank you.